Hey there, folks. Welcome to yesterday's news for September 10th, 2018. Talk about two stories today. The first one is the Olivia Munn controversy. I believe it was the Predator movie that there was a minor actor who was apparently a registered sex offender for something many, many years ago. And she complained, and he got fired, and they cut his scene out of the movie so he doesn't get paid, even though he did all the work. So I can get a little torn on this one because I can see the point for everybody. I can see her point. I can see the point of the people who are mad at her. I can, feel bad for the guy who's, being punished all over again for a crime he was already punished for. I don't know the details. I don't know if he was adequately punished for the original crime or not. But we have double jeopardy laws for a reason. That it's not okay to just keep bringing things up against people over and over and over again, and use that as a source of power over them, essentially, which is kind of what's happening here. And that doesn't it doesn't diminish the seriousness of the crime. And if it was a case of he got off easy and he shouldn't have, then that's the complaint we should have, not oh, let's get this guy fired. It's let's complain that he didn't get proper justice in the first place. So, but then on the same token, there is the issue of rampant sexual misconduct in Hollywood, and we need to move the needle on that. And I'm not willing to sacrifice somebody to that. I'm not willing to sacrifice an innocent person to that. Not that this guy's innocent, but again, back to the whole double jeopardy thing. If he committed another crime, absolutely, throw the book at him. But I think at the end of the day, keeping this in the spotlight, bringing more attention to this is probably a good thing in the end. I think I suspect a lot of what's often happening is that somebody will get called out, and then all the other people doing all the same stuff just as bad jump on the bandwagon to destroy that person in order to basically take the heat off themselves. Seems to be something that happens a lot in Hollywood. And I believe I saw some rumors that that is what may have happened here, that the director had his own skeletons in his own closets and jumped on the opportunity to fire this guy to basically prevent having any further scrutiny come onto him. And so that's another problem. So it's terrible that you have to be careful about people who look like they're doing the right thing, because they may be doing the right thing. Giving the appearance of doing the right thing is such a popular strategy for people doing the very wrong thing. So, but at the end of the day, keeping this issue in the news, keeping people aware of it, I think that's all good. And but you can't punish somebody twice for one crime. Not that that's funny. It probably sucks for the people who get in that position. I've actually known some, and it's not a good thing. So on to the other story. This one, I do have a link in the description, but there's like dozens of stories out. So a few days ago in Austin, Texas, it's Dallas. A police officer getting off of her late shift after a 12-hour shift apparently walked into the wrong apartment. Meeting the apartment's rightful occupant, thought he was a burglar in her apartment and shot him, and he died. So it's a bizarre story. I get it being in the news because it's a really bizarre story. At the end of the day, it's really just a tragic misunderstanding. It's like, look, you walk into your apartment and you walk into what you think is your apartment and there's this random stranger in your apartment. It's natural to assume that they're a burglar. You're sitting at home and, somebody randomly, I'm assuming the lights were off, it was dark, the guy's in bed and, somebody barges into your house, the natural reaction of both those people would be to pull a gun if they had one. And I don't know if he was armed or not, but, so it's like, it was fundamentally just a misunderstanding, tragic, horrible misunderstanding, but it's kind of like, two people acting rationally on the information that they had, and turns out one of them had the wrong information, and tragedy struck. And unfortunately, the person with the wrong information is the one who lived, and she's going to have to live with that. And I wouldn't, obviously that is gross negligence, but still not malevolent. What I wanted to comment on, though, rather than the bizarreness of the story itself, which is really just bizarre, is the attempts in the media to try and make this about race. The victim was black and the cop was sort of whitish. But it's like the whole point is the lights were off. Like if she couldn't recognize that it wasn't her apartment, obviously she's in panic mode. She's not looking. She's not, the idea that race would play anything in this case is just absolutely absurd. And the fact that that so many media outlets are like pointing that out, like black man killed by white woman, like let's make this about race. It's like, that's insane. Like, it's racist, but it's like they're so obviously trying to sow violent discord. It's like, why would you do that? It's and it's and it's completely false. It's completely made up. It's not. There's absolutely no reason for that to be a relevant fact in this case. A police officer walked into the wrong house, didn't understand the situation, thought she was in her own house, thought she was being robbed, and shot the guy. That's what you would expect to happen from that mistake. No excuse for the mistake. It's a ridiculous mistake. Absolutely, totally negligent. She deserves some pretty serious consequences for such a mistake. But there's absolutely no way race had anything to do with it. I don't think she even would have had, based on the information that I have seen so far, like she wouldn't have had time to process what color the guy is. It was, there's somebody in my house, thinking she's in her house, and she's in his house. And, obviously, when she told him to get down or whatever, put his hands up, he didn't, because it's like, you broke into my house, lady. Would have been my response. And if she broke into my house, she probably would have been the one who got shot. But and if it had gone the other way, I mean, that's just as likely an outcome. It's Texas, just as likely an outcome that she could have been the one who got shot. And it would still be a bizarre story. Why are we pushing the racial narrative on it? It offends me. Race is not a thing that should matter, and if you think it matters, that's the definition of racism. So if you're looking for the racial angle on a story, that makes you a racist. Like, I don't know how else to explain this. And yeah, so put that in the box of things to question the credibility of the media, and remember that this story has nothing to do with race. If that's all of the places you get information from, that this was a bizarre, tragic misunderstanding that could have happened to anybody, honestly. Bizarre, tragic. I don't know what kind of malfunction causes you to walk into another person's house thinking it's your own while not high or drunk or something. Maybe she was. That would be a whole other story again. That would all feed into, absolutely, negligent and irresponsible on her part, and she needs to be held accountable for that. But yeah, I'm repeating myself at this point. So with that, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again tomorrow.